Now, the rest of the story.
I don't have any baling footage for you guys, but I just went through and took the air hose to the 569. It's to be honest with you, it's darned if you don't, danged if you do situation. I'm just looking at my setup here. For those of you that remember, I ended up putting in a spacer for the drawbar, the 82, because this pin left a lot of slack in here, and then when you're pulling ahead and backing up, which I tend to do quite a bit, I didn't want all that wear and tear and basically slamming the baler back and forth on here. So the hitch saver is obviously doing its job because we're getting a pretty good groove in it. And if you guys have seen the 4640, that drawbar was brand new just a handful of years ago, and that's actually got a pretty nasty groove in it. The planner is actually guilty for about 1,000% of that, but with the 82 we don't have a whole lot on it, and what little bit we do is from the chisel plow. But that piece is a shaft, or not shaft, what was that? Oh, it's just a piece of steel I found. I cut it down to size so it would work, and it looks like it's doing a pretty good job. I haven't had the baler off the 569 off the 82 all summer, which is really what I'd like to get to with all of our machinery. It's what it was when we were growing up. We had enough tractors around that every tractor just stayed hooked to its dedicated machine throughout the duration of whatever season we're in, you know, planting, hay season and harvest. And the 82 not being used primarily all summer, I mean, it really does help that it can just stay hooked up and go. Why did I use the 569 over the 566? It's better. It's more reliable, just heavier built, heavier everything. And we ended up going to the furthest farm away that we had to make. I mean, all of Dad's and Ryan's stuff is made. It's cut, not made. And I'm driving that far away from home, especially when the balers and everything have sat for about a month. I mean, the last hay we made was down at the valley. But the situation we ran into is the stuff was cut Tuesday. Today is Friday, and there's a chance of rain tonight, an inconsistent chance of rain tonight. And the situation we run into is we went and hand checked everything at 11 o'clock. It was too tough. I mean, it was cloudy, overcast. I mean, there was a little bit of a breeze, but not enough to really do anything. Well, as luck would have it, the sun came out about 12:30, and we didn't go very far away because we weren't entirely sure if it was going to clear off. And, you know, we got plenty of other jobs to do, but you didn't want to get too far away or dedicated to any one job and then not be able to jump back into this, right? You know, at least go make your hay. Well, we ultimately went out, checked everything again at 2 o'clock, felt it was borderline, and with the potential rain that is in the forecast for tonight, which they've changed it pretty much every time I've hit refresh on the screen, they've changed it from midnight till 4, from 10 o'clock till 4 in the morning. Now they got it down to 30% chance at midnight. And they were calling for a chance tomorrow. Well, they pulled that off for the morning. And now they're calling for a chance of showers tomorrow night. The problem is, I don't think we're going to get enough to really amount to anything. The question is if it's going to be enough that's really going to hurt the hay that's still on the ground. So we ended up quitting. The reason we ended up quitting is because I have that moisture tester. And ideally, we're going for dry hay. I'm looking for about 15%, because dry hay that I'm not going to worry about heating or potentially, you know, getting hot and going bad on us or losing quality on us. Ideally under 20. Okay? Well, I went up. Ryan went out and he did rake the furthest away farm that we have to cut, or had cut. It laid for about 45 minutes to an hour because, I mean, it was about 4 o'clock by the time I got started baling. I had a little bit of time to have the sun and the wind and the heat work on it. Made a few bales, and I was getting anywhere from 16% to 26%, and I've done it before. I've had bales that have checked low 20s, mid 20s, made them and they kept. But with what Ryan wants to do with this stuff, what Dad wants to do with this stuff, I'm not trying to make any hay that is going to diminish in quality. So after checking several bales several times a piece, I was getting way too many bales that were in the 20% range. 20 was coming up a lot more often than anything in the teens. So unfortunately, I say we split the risk. We made what we did tonight. We got a fair amount of hay to make tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. If we get a bunch of rain or enough rain where I can't bale tomorrow, I don't think it's going to be any too wet or muddy where I can't at least go and collect those 20 bales that I made tonight. I'll space them apart, let them air out, and the intention is Ryan wants to, because it's Ryan's hay. Ryan does want to put them through the wrapper as dry material. The reason being is because even though he's going to wrap them, he's not going to wrap them as heavy, is what I've been told. And then if it's stored as dry material, it's less likely it'll keep longer, because where Ryan's currently sitting on feed right now is he's already figuring that the last of the stuff he's making now is going to be carried over into winter of 23, 24. So he's already looking out a year from now as far as the feed that he's going to be using up. So we're trying to get it as dry as possible to at least give us a better chance that it's going to keep. We could have rolled the dice, yeah. But the rain we've been getting here lately really hasn't been amounting to much. I mean, a couple tenths, maybe a few tenths, like not even a half an inch here lately. It's hot, it's dry out. Any real amount of rain, I don't think it's really going to hurt us. I really don't. The crops are pretty well made. The fields are dry enough where if we get up to even a half an inch, I don't think it's not gonna stay around very long. It's gonna soak right in. And then with all the material we have in the ground, the alfalfa, which I only have 2 more fields to do, is the stuff that I'm probably the most worried about, but it's borderline where the stuff was tough this morning, and it really didn't start to dry out where it was getting, where it would crackle, crunch when you'd squeeze it. But the thing is, it's borderline to the point where I think if we get a heavy dew, which we are getting consistently every night now, and any kind of rain overnight and maybe tomorrow night, the forecast after tomorrow night isn't calling for any rain, and we're just choosing to roll the dice and hope that any moisture we get isn't going to be enough to really hurt any of the material that's on the ground. Outside of the alfalfa, the rest of the stuff, I mean, is waterway hay. I mean, the stuff even down at my place, that last stuff, the 10 acres of seeding, that's decent, nice alfalfa in it, but that was actually cut a day later. It's still pretty green yet, so any rain we do get, I don't think it's going to hurt that. And then everything else is being fed to our cows, so we're not trying to sell the stuff. So it's just, I'd say splitting our risk. I would have wanted to keep baling, but it's just that voice in your head is telling you that it makes sense to do it, but you're not quite sure if you should. So we're not out anything if we wait. other than, you know, it's just pushing us back another day or two and getting the last of the hay made for the year. I mean, this is actually a pretty good amount of material. For third cut, for what I actually made and the amount of material I got, we actually is looking like it's going to yield pretty good. The only thing that's going to hurt me is if everybody produces a lot of hay and the hay market just goes to junk. That's just something I'm going to have to address and deal with later this winter. So what I'm going to do is actually fire this back up, run it because everything is still warm because I just got back. And I'm going to hit all the roller chains with a chain lube to make sure that it's able to sit and soak in, because I've already blown all the dirt and dust and the chaff off the baler, which is just good practice because keeping them clean like that reduces, you know, potential wear, tear, things burning, you know, because that dirt and dust and everything, if you get a big mat of chaff built up in any, like your gearboxes or anything that produces heat, all that does is insulate it and it doesn't allow the heat to escape, and you know, everything gets hotter than what it typically would if we're keeping everything clean. So I'm gonna have to talk to you guys later because that's just gonna be that for tonight. So until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. See you later.